Hello, Cheval. I'm so excited to have you on Power Women Wellness. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad we have another reason to connect again. Y'all, I met her in like a little entrepreneur group and just loved hearing her story. So first I will, let you share who you are, what do you do, give us the deets.
Absolutely. Well, I am the Chief Inspiration Officer, a title I came up with myself at SHE is
Love.
Cheval, and we are a women's specialty shoe brand. We just launched in October of last year, and I'm formally known by my birth name, which I cannot use anymore to publicly identify or in any business
Wow.
or commerce. So I've had to change my name to Cheval. And you might recognize me from the wedding dress world. I was previously a wedding dress designer on SAS The Dress. But yeah,
Nice.
I opened the book of a new chapter after a lawsuit and just pivoting as I go.
Yes. Do you actually ever catch yourself accidentally using your previous name or no?
Honestly, I do if I'm speaking to myself in the person where I'm talking to myself when I was younger,
Mhm.
like, so and so, how could you do that? And it's always like a Freudian like slip up because it's the name I'm so used to using. But
Yeah.
I've been
Oh my
pretty good
gosh.
about, using the new one moving forward and just
Nice.
full on full speed.
I love it. I love it. And after we chatted a little bit too, I was exploring your website and the shoe designs are so unique, like never seen anything like them on the market. They're so cute. I love that you call yourself the Chief Inspiration Officer. Where do you actually get your ideas to do? I don't know, you can tell you put these like personal flair on these shoes. Does that come naturally or any inspiration that you get somewhere else?
Yeah, I definitely pull inspiration from all types of artistic elements, but I would say I'm a little more personality based and I love
Fun.
sentimental nuances. I'm a big nostalgia person, not in the sense of glorifying the past, but I was very in tuned as a child with creativity, and that has always been a comfort zone for me. So I love looking back to things that lit me up as a child and how you can express that now and still find a bit of joy from it. So, for example, our signature print is based off of a classic French toile, but it actually tells
Ooh.
my creative journey. So, if you look closely, there's all these little hidden elements and storytelling bits. And that kind of
Oh
represents
my
what we
gosh.
want to brand is that it's all about something you can step into and make your own and take it chapter by chapter.
Oh
But with the
my
actual
gosh.
I wasn't afraid to be really specific with the designs. I find that the more diluted industries are, the more
Yeah.
there is need to be specific and have a real personality. And obviously, our shoes are not for everyone. There's a lot of heels and there's a lot of stuff you wouldn't normally see, like draped chain and draped pearl. We have something called jewelry that is basically like jewelry for your shoe.
So
Um,
cute.
but I do love that feedback because that's something we go for is that we don't want to bring sand to the beach. We want to feel like we're actually bringing something a little bit different and
Yeah.
makes it a little harder on the business end, but I think it's more of a challenge in that it still keeps it creative and authentic to our vision.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine too on your end, it's much funner to create because you are creating such unique pieces that like are nowhere, nothing on the industry like has it. So I feel like that would be very fun to create versus just trying to find whatever trends going on and just, I don't know. I feel like that would hinder the creative process. I feel like.
Yeah, it's been a joy of a pivot in a way. So
I
gotta
love
keep
it. I love it. So yeah, so I mean, busy background. You've always been like a busybody doing so much in your career. And then obviously starting a business here. So we'll kind of go through, how you took take care of yourself just throughout being a busy entrepreneur, because we know it's tough. Time is limited. There's only so much time. So first we'll just start with your morning routine. And this can be anything from skincare to what you're eating, what are you drinking, what do you read? Like, what are you doing in the morning to start your day off right? Like, do you wake up early or do you sleep in? All the deets there.
Yeah, I wake up around 7ish
Mm.
naturally because that's the time my fiance also gets up. But I always have a quick little moment in the morning to just thank God I'm alive kind of thing. And I know
Yes.
that's very bare bones, but I look at my bulldog, and I look at my fiance and, I'm just so grateful that I am there with them. And that's always like a good little reminder every morning to start off that way.
Yes.
But in terms of like a skincare routine and I guess maintenance, I'm pretty lazy and very
Love it.
whatever quickest method. I've never been a huge skincare or products person.
Oh my gosh.
Makeup-wise, I have more fun with, but
Okay.
skincare, I just think of like sunscreen, like I'm outside in the sun
Hey, that's good.
a lot, and that's pretty much all I do. There are nights
Amazing.
where sorry, go ahead.
No, I said amazing. I mean, I don't know. I guess I've seen it for everything from simple to like really a lot of things. So I love that you're on the, just the lazier end, but you can't forget sunscreen. So
I'm so lazy. And I think I'm lucky because I do have natural pigment in my skin that's freckly and it's a little more red. And I don't mind it. I like that look. So it doesn't bother me that it's not perfectly, airbrushed looking all the time. But I've found that when I'm spending all this money and I'm putting all this stuff into my skin, I either get lazy with it or I just don't see the results fast enough to really invest. And because of that, what me is just making sure I try to wash my face when I can. Like I do go to sometimes with a full face of makeup. I know that's like disgusting for a lot of people, but occasionally it happens, and I don't stress too much about it.
Yeah.
But I believe in the hot washcloth trick. Sometimes makeup remover pad, but soap and water a lot. And
wow.
In the morning, I think because I live in Florida too, it's humid. So naturally I do have drier skin, but because I'm here, it's okay. There is this one brand that I really like that actually came to the Entrepreneurista event, and it's this young group of girls that started this company. I'm tempted to go run and grab it, but it's a skincare solution. It's like a little serum, and I found that's actually the only thing I've ever really used religiously till it's almost gone. But this nice base primer for makeup and everything, and then sunscreen. So
amazing.
Long to say I don't do much.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think definitely used to be me, like just with all like leaving makeup on and not even think about it. And some nights I'm still like so tired. I actually don't wear any makeup. I just throw on lashes and go. So thankfully I don't have to worry too much about like putting or taking makeup off. But some nights I just, I don't even wash my face because I'm exhausted. That's a little bit less, like more common. I'm doing something, but I definitely have those nights where I'm like, I'm not doing anything, but literally falling into bed. So I feel you.
Or like The Office or New Girl or something as we're going to bed, and both of us
I love New Girl
while it's on. So it's like, like going to bed. I do try to get better at it, but other than that, like I like hitting the ground running every morning. So I usually jump right into work or I go for a workout. I'm not a big breakfast person, so I'll have coffee, and I typically take fiber supplements, something like that. Start like a big glass of fiber basically. And that's kind of what I do every morning. It's so unglamorous. And I feed my dog, kiss my fiance goodbye, and then it's just work.
Nice. I love that you also just start your day with like gratitude. I think it's something so simple, but I feel like it moves the needle with just mental health, the mentality, and I don't know, just it feels very different. I know on days that I have gone days without even doing any gratitude work, and then days that I do, it's so different. I feel like my attitude is different. It just shifts so much in me. So I love that you start that, even if it's like a pretty simple, like morning routine. Did you mention your like drink of choice? I think you mentioned coffee, right?
Yeah, it's coffee, like Mr. Coffee Pot, old school. I brew it now, and then there's this, it's like a coffee creamer and it's cookie milk flavored. It's so good. It's by the same makers as Silk soy milk or whatever. Oat creamer, and it says cookie milk on it, and it's so delicious.
Oh my gosh.
Coffee, and that is like my breakfast. That's how I start my day. I drink a big, glass of water and take vitamins and supplements and everything, but that's it. I
nice.
probably could I'm somebody that could benefit from more of a proper routine, but I'm always like quick, quick, quick and get started.
Yeah. And then, I mean, around what time do you feel like you eat lunch? Is it like an earlier lunch because you didn't have breakfast, like 11, or is it typical?
No, it's usually not till like 1 or 2. And it's like chicken nuggets.
I
It's
totally
so
have those
bad.
days. I will
So bad.
fully, I will fully admit that too. Some days it is like seriously chicken nuggets.
Yeah, it's healthy chicken nuggets. I get them from Trader Joe's and they have
Yeah.
like protein and vegetables in them, but I just like quickly pop them in the oven and I'm usually shoving my face on a Zoom call or like, it's so unglamorous and it's so different than how my life used to be in New York when I lived in New York in a bustling city. There's like great soup shops and sandwich shops and salads and
Yes.
spending like $15 every day on lunch. And now I literally pop in chicky tendies and like that's it.
Do you feel like it's because you live in a location that may not have as many choices, or I mean, maybe it's also because you're doing a little bit something career-wise too. Do you feel like you had more time to do that back then?
Yes, I think because the culture calls for it. Right now we're in a rental house and we're kind of in a suburb area. So it's not like you can go walk to lunch.
Right.
But I just wouldn't really do that because my work is my home, it's my office. I'm home in my
Yeah.
office. And so it's again, like it's almost like out of laziness. It's like if there was like a great tuna salad in the fridge, like sometimes Conrad will like leave me something like I'll have
Nice.
that or if there's like sushi, but otherwise it's like pop in the nuggets. And we're
Oh my gosh, you would totally benefit from like uh places like Snap Kitchen is really popular here, but they ship everywhere. It's like where it's like full on like meals are cooked and you just gotta honestly pop it in the microwave and it's ready to eat. But really great options for like busy people like yourself where I don't know. Do you miss having a full meal sometimes?
I actually do. I miss
Yeah.
salad I used to get, a $15 salad, in New York, but it was a really balanced, high quality salad. It had a protein, it had like the oils in it, it was like a really healthy salad. But I'll say like the energy level hasn't really changed too much for me. I used
Interesting.
to think like really fueled and made a difference. But I find that now, even though my routine has gotten really
Yeah.
lazy out of desperation and that I really don't have time to sit down and eat a proper lunch or a meal or anything. But I think I
I
would.
mean, yeah, I'm gonna say you're in startup mode. So it is different than like coasting career mode.
Absolutely. I love that. I am in startup mode and that is why. It's also, I relate it to, because I'm on a very tight budget, financially as well. And it's just like, this is so much more within
Yeah.
the vision of it's easy, it's delicious. There it is.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, for sure. For sure. So what are your top two like favorite meals like you can't live without? What are yours? Whether it's something that you don't eat too often, but you love it when you do, or something that you just eat weekly.
Steak.
Mm,
I meat eater and
yeah.
my fiance make this really good steak on the grill. He'll marinate it in some delicious like Italian spices and stuff. And I love a good steak. I
Nice.
because and I read this book recently where it was eating for your blood type. I'm O positive, and there's something about the blood type that makes you more inclined to be, a meat
Yeah.
eater, vegetarian. And so I've always really loved high protein meals as opposed to like a pasta or just a salad without any protein. Like I never feel
Yeah.
very after that. So I love salmon. I love steak. I would say the cedar plank salmon would be number two.
Ooh.
It's again, Conrad makes it and it's got this like mapley, delicious sauce to
Mm.
it. And it's so tasty. And like, I would eat like the whole thing.
Oh my gosh. I do love smoked salmon. Probably my favorite. I'm a little jealous that you can have like a steak that you love at home because I just feel like nothing compares to like a steakhouse versus when I make it. I don't know what I do wrong. Maybe I'm just not the best steak cooker, but I'm like, why don't I get it to the same deliciousness? So I'm a little jealous that you can get it to that deliciousness at home.
It's all Conrad. It's not me. If I was left to devices, yeah, it would be a different story. It would be chicken nuggets for dinner. Or maybe a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Do you have favorite sides with those? Because mine, like steak, mashed potatoes, like those, and like roasted veg, like that is like that is my complete dinner, like with you. That's like my favorite.
Yes. Yeah. I love a good roasted carrot. Or we do a salad, super simple. It's just got like pepperoncinis in it and onion, avocado, some feta cheese,
Ooh.
and a little baby cucumbers. And sometimes we'll chop up egg and put that in there for extra protein. And you put this dressing. It's like my go-to. It's got Dijon mustard, oil, Worcestershire. I don't even know how to say that.
I think you said that right.
Vinegar or balsamic vinegar, garlic. It's almost like a play off of a and a Caesar, and it's like my go-to dressing. I even sometimes dip my steak in that. It's so good.
Oh my gosh.
Like steak and salad or steak and salmon salad every night.
Oh my gosh.
I don't like potatoes. I've never been a big potato person. I like French fries, but at restaurants, when they're loaded with like truffle and Parmesan and seasoned and like all of that.
Oh my gosh. I need to get into it because I'm still, I don't know, we actually don't do a ton of salads here. I don't know why. I think my whole family's like, it's okay. It's definitely not our favorite. We're definitely fans of like more of like a roasted veggie melody, whereas it's like carrots or potatoes and roasted onions. Like that's more of like our veggie jam. We just don't like naturally shift into salads. So I haven't gone into like making simple homemade dressings because they are extremely simple. Like you said, like everybody usually has every ingredient that's in their pantry. But I always hear like people raving about it. And like, I just need to try it. Whenever we do salads next, I need to like, I buy the good stuff. I buy like Primal Kitchen salad dressings, but I never really make homemade and they're so simple. So I don't know why I don't do it. Because that sounds really good, what you just described.
Yeah. It's just flavorful and it's very tangy. So for me, like I very garlicky, spicy, tangy, any of that stuff. I love it. So
nice.
Checks all the boxes.
Love that. And I know you mentioned you wake up like doing some exercise. What is your favorite go-to workouts?
I used to be a big gym person. So I do love going in and hitting the weights and having like a real weight training exercise circuit. Conrad is really great at those. So I'll occasionally go do the gym with him. But my new favorite workouts in Florida are twofold. It's either I call it like a hot box workout because it's so hot here and it's so cute that when you're doing anything outside, you're going to be sweating. And I just love to sweat. Like I love the feeling of it. So I do these like series of 10 exercises pretty much as many times through as I can. And I do that for an hour in the backyard. And it's like jumping jacks, it's push-ups, it's burpees, it's sit-ups. It's like all the stuff you hate.
Full body.
But full body, you don't need weights for it. Definitely sweat and get exhausted. And it reminds me of gymnastics, like kind of boot camp style stuff. And that's what I grew up doing. So I feel like I'm doing the same things I used to. So it's comfortable for me. And I put in a great, playlist. I do switch it up and listen to podcasts every once in a while, but I find to get a much better workout if it's a great like soundtrack or, something that gets you in a good vibe. So it's either that workout or I'll just go on a really long walk. Not high intensity. I'll get emails done. I'll get all of my direct messages done on Instagram and I'll make it like a batch workout where I'm actually getting work done while still getting walk in. And I'll be gone for like a couple hours. So usually it's anywhere from a 5 mile to a 7 mile walk, it's a good workout because you sweat. But Florida just like gives you the goods because it's hot here. So like you go outside and you're definitely getting a workout no matter what.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. I was actually going to ask you before you talked about walking. I was thinking like, I was wondering if the Florida humidity and weather actually keeps you from like, getting outside, but you like to sweat. So that's amazing. I don't think that you need to sauna, it seems like.
No, and I like, so if I could have my ideal situation and I actually had a gym membership or something, I would love to have like a cold plunge and a sauna
Oh,
and
yes.
and like all this stuff that, I would really set up like an awesome gym and do like an outdoor gym like situation with weights. But
Yes.
very nomadic in Florida. So until we really have a settlement,
Yes.
you know,
100%. 100%. We just got that. We got the sauna, I would say a couple years ago, because I am not a person that naturally, I've actually grown. I feel like it helped me become a sweater, but I never used to sweat. I could be hot and it's just is really hard for me to break a sweat. Now, actually, I was outside and it's Texas and it's summer and it's hot. I actually did sweat. So I'm like, see, I think I trained my like sweat glands to open up, but we got the sauna a couple years ago and have loved it. It's infrared. So I feel like it's a different type of sauna. I'm from Florida. So oh my gosh, that humidity is just, and it's intense. And I feel like I could never really be out there too long. It just would bother me. But like an infrared, it's such a gentle heat because it heats you up from within. So it's a different mechanism. And I feel like I can be in there a lot longer, a lot hotter, which is great. But that was a game changer. And yes, we have a cold plunge coming because that's more my husband. That is not me. I don't mind getting a little warm and I actually love being cold. Well, I don't know. I'm a baby when it comes to cold water. I've not been able to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're busy in that startup phase. So what kind of keeps you going to taking care of yourself, even though it is simple, you're still putting some time, like you're putting time aside to walk and, combining that, which is me. That's why I got under the desk treadmill. So I can be in my office and in my computer and just be like having some type of movement because I would be awfully sedentary if I did not. So what makes you keep going with just even simple tasks like that?
I think working out and movement, like you just said, is the number one thing for me in my psychology because it makes me feel like I'm productive. And that carries into other facets of my life. So for me, number one is making sure I'm moving my body every day if I can. Some days slip through the cracks, but that's, I would say, the number one priority for me. Not speaking to relationships or anything outside, that are all very important to your well, but that's so important for me. And then I carry that productivity into my work environment. I would say with being a creator and an artist, you really do have to be in the right mindset and pay attention to the times where you're feeling a little bit more inspired to take advantage of those, because not every day is going to be the same in your approach, especially to development and with new things. And so I try to make sure to be mindful of just my rhythms and force myself to create when I'm not feeling like it, or I'm in a different mindset. When I have that, I do something else. I focus more on the business side or more on the organizational side. But when I'm having a really good day where I'm excited about stuff, I really try to roll with it and use a natural momentum to like get to the next level. I'm also like doing a lot of writing right now because we've been obviously working on some blogs for our nonprofit company, for our nonprofit, as well as our business. And I find that writing is one of the best exercises for my brain, because as you think of it and write it, it's a good muscle to exercise. I with social media now, everything is kind of given to you. It's like all these visuals and all this, stuff that people are doing. And it makes you feel almost by comparison, like you have to be doing all this. And it distracts you. It pulls you away from, what might feel more organic or authentic. Yeah. So I try to pay attention to those rhythms.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. Especially being on social too much. It definitely hinders my creativity. Cause you get stuck into this, like really, at least I do, this circle of like, I don't know, comparisonitis. And then I don't know. I don't know. It's just, I can tell when I have too much social media, but as we talk a lot about like women's hormones here, obviously it's what we do. I'm curious if you've ever felt that inspiration shift based on like your cycle. Have you ever paid attention to that before?
I've not paid attention to that. I would say I pay more attention to environmental circumstances.
Okay.
And that being, going back to social media, a lot of times if I'm not using my time productively and I'm wasting, doom
Yeah.
scroll, doing something else, it puts me in a really bad temper that like, not that I have temper, it's just like it casts this dark cloud over
Yes.
me that's not productive to work from. And I also find that certain people can really drain your energy and take that from you. When it comes to like my hormones, I've just really had a hard time identifying it because I had amenorrhea as a gymnast growing up. And so I didn't get a natural cycle. I had to force one when I was like 20 years old. And
Wow.
I had to actually go on a birth control. So I started like super late in that type of, realm. And then I never fully got control over it until like maybe in the last 6 or 7 years that I went off birth control completely and finally got a cycle. But I've never had my hormones checked. I've never done like those blood tests or anything like that. And it would be something I'd be super interested in. Tests to like vitamin levels and where you're just, and you just don't know what you don't know. So.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, for sure. You'll have to let me know if you just pay, I don't know, when I mention it, it might like pop into your head, like when you start your period. And then you'll be a little bit more like just aware of it. Because usually, after you bleed and it's kind of like before ovulation, a lot of women feel that like inspiration, that creativity throughout ovulation, even just a lot of flowing. And then before you bleed, it varies. Maybe it's like a week before you bleed, maybe a week and a half, you can start seeing the slowdown, just like and I feel it's so hard. Like that's not the phase of my cycle where I should be creating content. Like I really need to take advantage of that when I'm in my follicular phase, that first half. So I'm curious if like now you're aware of it, you're going to be a little bit more like, wait,
more attention to it now because I really thought about how that could maybe impact it.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like I'm more sentimental and emotional or affected by things at certain times.
Yes.
So that could be a factor for sure. I'm going to pay attention. I'll get back to you on it.
Oh, I'm actually going to pay attention to that too, because I'm very curious if social media affects me, because you are a little bit, again, your hormones are dipping before your bleed. So you're naturally more sensitive and emotional around that time. So now I'm going to pay attention. I'm like, maybe I should ease social media use around this time of my cycle.
I know social media is so exhausting and it is. It's coming at you from every angle now. And you're seeing everyone's highlight reels, of course.
Yes.
But I also just feel like so much of the content is so worthless. It's like watching, and
that's true.
And it's like good for whoever, if they're feeling joy from creating content, like I encourage it. But I think we all get caught up in this rat race of like, we have to continually up and like, oh, if you want to get on the algorithm, it's a pay to play now and you better be posting 3 times a day. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I don't have time to do that. Like, I don't want to pump content out.
It's exhausting to keep up with it, honestly. And even it's like, if you don't keep up with it, then like your reach the next time you do post sucks. Like, and it's exhausting. So I've learned to come at it from a more of a funner standpoint. Like, hey, if one person sees this, I've done my work, I've done my job, and not totally obsess over that, because I definitely have fell down that rabbit hole. And then you get like disappointed of like, I put so much work into this, especially if you're trying to follow all the rules and do all the things. And then it's like, oh, I didn't get much out of it. This sucks. And like, that's a downward spiral. So it's impossible. It's impossible to keep up. And with all the different types of social media, now it's like Instagram and then TikTok. And then I don't even know if Facebook still qualifies because they honestly have sucked for like years, but YouTube, it's just always something and they're all different.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think it's good to approach it the same way I kind of think about inspiration, feeling a moment of creativity. It's like if you feel excited about it and it makes you happy or maybe you're challenging yourself or something like that, I think it's all great. But getting really down on yourself because you're not documenting your smoothie recipes and getting a get ready video every time you get ready, it's just like got to be a little bit in the moment here and there, you know?
Yes. Do you have any social media accounts on top of your head that you do love? Like it inspires you, it fires you up? Any off the top of your head?
Question. I definitely follow a lot of my real friends in real life. And it's just because I want to keep up with what they're doing and like, because I'm genuinely interested in their happiness level in life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really follow a lot of, I follow them, but I don't actually follow their, posts and keep up. Not too many celebrities. I like creative accounts and I love architecture, like interior design and decor. So like Kelly Wersler is probably one of my favorite people to follow. I think she's super creative, very thoughtful. It's just unique content. I look for humor more than anything. Like, so if you go in my like search, it's all like English bulldog and capybaras and like baby hippos, and, like, animal accounts, like and funny like bloopers. So
that's hilarious.
A little bit about me.
No, I love it. I mean, a lot of people use social media as like a place to like laugh and all that. And even that sometimes can feel intimidating as a creator because then it's like, wait, then do I got to put like a funny spin? Do I got to be funny? Do I got to put a spin on it to grab people's attention? So even that is like, oh, it can be hard for the creator. But yes, I love funny stuff. Any entrepreneur or other Facebooks and we'll throw in podcasts, any entrepreneur books, podcasts, social medias that you love for inspiration or just learning the business side?
Yeah, I definitely listen to a lot of podcasts, business marketing. Jenna Kutcher, who's a friend of mine, her podcast Goal Digger is still one of my go-tos. It's always good to feel aspirational in the content you're taking in, especially with podcasts, because I feel like you're always going to learn something new. And typically podcasts are chock full of like experiential advice. So I love that, but it can also be overwhelming too, because when you listen to somebody who's giving an interview and they talk about like their daily routine and they're like, oh, I journal and I meditate and I work out for this and that and I fast and I and you're just like, how do you
well, that's exactly why I loved all of our interviews is because we've had really, really simple, real simple, all the way to, okay, maybe me, I'm the more complex one over here, but no, even there's people like me that like sauna and meditation and matcha and just whatever. So I love that people are able to see that big realm of like, it's not one way. There's nothing that's like perfect and everyone has to find their own groove. And obviously also based on the season, startup season is very different from when you're coasting. So I love being able to see just a bird eye view of all the different types of like routines and habits and things people are doing.
Yeah, it's definitely inspiring, but it does make you feel less than a lot of times when you hear that, oh gosh, I'm not doing enough with my life. And that's tough because we do live life by comparison. So I think you do have to be careful about how to interpret, and you need to do what's best for you regardless. But I do also like podcasts that are not politically correct. I like when people have strong opinions on either side. I think we're getting to a point in life where I think people are afraid to say certain things. And I get that there's things of just wanting to be respectful and not offend people. But at the same time, I like hearing both sides of the argument. And so I appreciate podcasts that are willing to bring on guests that might be controversial or ones that are, far right or far left or, so I actually like that stuff. And I also like being a safe place for somebody if they do want to share something with me. I don't like making people feel bad for their opinion, especially if it's really passionate. like, good for you. I think that's wonderful. And, I don't believe in pushing your opinion on people, but I like hearing them. So
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I try to be more in the middle. Not that I'm not afraid not that I'm afraid to have like being on either side, but I think that you have to be open-minded and be willing to understand the other side, because in their experience, that is very real, and what they're experiencing. I obviously experienced something very different, So I do appreciate hearing from all sides, no matter where I lean on health stuff. I definitely am not afraid on social media to speak up on things that could be problematic.
like, this is my jam,
Yes.
To be careful, like news. I don't actually like listening to the news because the news is so skewed. And
Always.
so like I'm getting the facts. So if I'm going to listen to something, I want to listen to people that are experts in the industry that do have strong opinions, And so like that's more where I go toward. But I'm trying to think of other entrepreneurship. I mean, I love the Entreprenista League, being a part of that. Great, a group of just like really strong women that want to support and bring a community aspect to starting business. I believe in sharing secrets, like not harboring them. So any podcasts that are focusing on that kind of stuff, I do love. But yeah, I mean, kind of
awesome.
Across the board,
I love it.
Crime or anything like that, but
I feel like we got a lot everywhere. We got some political stuff. We got some funny animals. I feel like we got a good run.
Funny.
That's hilarious. I'm curious, do you have any books that come to mind that has shaped you in any part of your career, that you always would like think back on and say, man, that was a great book, and that expanded my money mindset, my business savviness, even like creatively, because I know we'll have other creative entrepreneurs on here.
Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power, has been life-changing for me. And his philosophies in general, like between him and Malcolm Gladwell, I think are pretty spectacular. It just makes a lot of sense. Outliers is really, it's a pretty unique and awesome perspective on specialty people. So I love both of them. I don't read a lot of books. I'm more of a podcast listener. And if I do read a book, it's going to be via audio, because I'll be like on a walk or doing something else or driving or something. So I don't really have a lot of time to sit down and read. And I think when I do have the downtime, I prefer to do more design research based things.
Well,
like I'll do some Pinterest work or go down some rabbit holes on history, fashion, or, all that kind of stuff. But I people that are really into the book talk and the book world. I've got a girlfriend that has like made it her life on TikTok, and it's so inspiring. She reads all the fantasy novels and reports on them, and it's a pretty cool niche.
Honestly, I just need to, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to cancel everything that I'm doing business wise. And honestly, like that's how I can escape. Is I love reading. I do more of the business books on Audible, and then the fun books I do book, because it just gives me a reason to take my eyes off the screen, because I am on the screen literally all the time. So that's why I like reading like the fiction books, just holding a book, nothing classic than that, but I favorite. So I love those TikToks and Instagrams where they are like rating the books, spiciness levels. Like I'm all about like, give me a spicy book, a good book, and I'm good.
Follow her. Her name is SHE Alexa. You would love. She reads all, and then she like reports on it and
love. Sold. Amazing. Well, share with us, where can we find you? Share more about like your nonprofit. Of course, we'll have all your social media links and website links in our show notes, but tell us where we can find you.
So sheischeval.com is our website. And then She Is Cheval is the Instagram handle for the business. Our nonprofit is A Girl You Might Know Foundation. And then agirlyoumightknowfoundation.org is the website. And then I also still have my original podcast Instagram that I started with my fiance, and that's All That Glitters on the Gram. And now that's kind of morphed into more of my personal Instagram.
Oh, okay.
I had to hand over what I thought was always my personal Instagram to my former employer during the lawsuit. So that account, which I had opened with my birth date, cell phone and birth account, birth date and all that stuff.
Gosh.
That's the one I no longer have access
Oh
to.
my gosh. Oh my gosh. And tell us more about your nonprofit. Like, what is it and who does it help?
Our nonprofit is to support and safeguard the interests of young creatives, especially during the formative years of their career when they're making those big decisions and signing contracts or employment contracts. And in the experience I've had, I've just taken a real safeguard approach to going after, your biggest dreams while also finding ways to protect yourself. Because I think as a creator and an artist, you're so focused on what you can provide and what you can do, and you just want your opportunity. And a lot of times everything else gets pushed aside or is less of a priority. And I think there's a way for it to coexist. And so our foundation is threefold. There's a financial grant that you can apply for, which will be awarded to one young creative to help in the start of their business or to go over with legal advice. And then there's the curriculum education factor, which is really just about bringing together advocacy from the legal world of things you should know about contract law and signing, partnerships, getting into, a business situation that is equitable. And then the third arm is connecting people to pro bono or more affordable legal services. So those are kind of the three branches of it. And we just launched on International Women's Day, so we hope to grow. But it's kind of about a networking and support system and combining the creative with the legal so that you're not getting into a situation similar to what I found myself in.
Yes, amazing. I'm glad that you are doing that. I think a lot of nonprofits are started from that, like those experiences, and just creating that resource that you wish, you had when you were younger is incredible. So thank you so much for joining us today and talking about all your easy routines. That's what I'm going to call it. I love it.
I wish I had more, and it's been refreshing to talk about because it's not literally something I've loved in a long time.
Yeah. But I'm sure a lot of people also, again, as we were talking about like comparison, they need to hear that other people that are successful and doing the damn thing out there, they are not, all crazy woo like me, where they have like an in-depth routine. So it's refreshing. So I'm glad that you brought that to us. So thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.